Okay. So, what have your thoughts have been like on the way the generations have progressed? Do you think it's been generally positive changes? Do you think Pokemon's gotten better? Do you think it's gotten worse? Do you think it's some like I just how have you felt as the games have come out? You know, generation after generation.
I mean, generally, like with media and like with video games as a whole, generally, like I'm pretty easy to please.
Okay.
And I feel like you know, Pokemon's target audience, I feel like the same is probably true for them. You know, the younger generation. I think as a whole, Pokemon has been on the decline in recent generations. I definitely think Sword and Shield helped that. I do think Sword and Shield were much better than its predecessor, but I know for a while, like with X and Y and with Sun and Moon, fans weren't too pleased, and I know that I can kind of count myself along with that.
Yeah.
Just because you can kind of get a sense that the Pokemon, they didn't quite, you know, they were starting to run out of new things to do as they were making new games. So, and that's kind of the curse when you have a franchise that lives as long as Pokemon does, where, you know, you have this amazingly popular franchise, you want to keep it going, but, you know, how do you make it new and how do you keep it exciting and interesting?
Yeah, it's a good point. Oh, I like the catching animation. That's kind of neat. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's a hard thing to do to keep something relevant. Do you think that they've been doing the right thing by just making new generations with new Pokemon?
I mean, that's like that's like a whole other like conversation to get into, really, is because basically what you're asking is like, should Pokemon be dead? Like, should the game stop coming out? Should the game be over as a whole? So I mean, that's a whole other topic. But I mean, I think honestly, I respect the changes that they make with each generation, and I don't think any of them are too ridiculous. I'm in the same boat as you are, and I can't stand Gen 7, Sun and Moon. So that's really the only game where I played it and I was like, this is, you know, it's just ridiculous. But other than that, I think with each generation, they always tend to do something interesting. You know, even if it doesn't work out too well, it at least comes from a good place, and it's at least, you know, it at least works out for the most part.
Yeah. You know, I would like to point out, I didn't dislike Sun and Moon because of the Pokemon or anything like that. I actually was super excited for Sun and Moon. And, you know, I got a 3DS and I was like, I kind of was ready to play it. And I was excited to kind of get the chance to play a new Pokemon generation. And I was upset because I felt like no matter how long I played, it never got past the tutorial of the game. Because in the very beginning, it was very slow, and it was just like, hey, you need to follow me to do this. And I'd be like, all right, I walk 5 seconds, and then someone else would catch me like, oh, no, we have to go this way. You have to go do this.
Yeah.
And then it would walk you through how to click buttons and how to, like, do very basic things.
The exposition in Sun and Moon was, like, really bad.
Yeah, well, the problem was I got past the first gym, and I was still doing exposition. I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was like one thing that turned me off a lot. That's just kind of what started the whole, you know, it leaves a really bad impression, right? When you start off a game like that with so much exposition and hand holding, and, you know, so it really kind of ruins the rest of the game. But I also do want to shout out Mr. Otter's in the chat. He's talking about, he said he played Gen 1 through 4. He wasn't that into Gen 5 when it came out. And that's another thing too, is that like that era, like Gen 4, 5, 6, that's like the era that I think for, like, you know, people our age, that was, when we had other interests, right?
Yeah.
That was like when
Yeah.
we were at an age where we were starting to look at other stuff besides Pokemon.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know the same goes for me too. He also said,
Wait, what? I'm sorry. I just accidentally killed my teammate.
"Yeah, man, you can attack your teammates. Don't."
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh my goodness! I just wrecked myself. Okay. I was waiting because I saw this very cute little Pokemon called Fomu. That's just a little unicorn blob. Oh, it's so cute. And this other one's basically Peppa Pig. But all right, sorry, continue.
The other thing Mr. Otter said was that he didn't care much to check out Gen 8, and that the ideas seemed stupid and the designs didn't appeal. I can agree about the designs. The designs for Gen 8 were not too compelling in my opinion. Again, I think it's just chalked up to the fact that, like, when you have a series running for so long, new ideas and new compelling ideas are hard to come by. But I think a lot of the ideas implemented in Gen 8 went really well, and I will applaud Gen 8. Yeah, I will applaud Gen 8 for doing like really new and interesting things that I think ended up working out really well. So
That's good to hear. I'll have to give it. I'll have to eventually give it a chance. I don't have a Switch, and I don't have a Switch, and that's my biggest excuse for why I haven't played it yet.